Okay, so before we start to say anything about this movie we're about to do, right? I want to lay some ground rules just for this one. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's see how this one goes. But I want to talk about anytime we talk about a time travel movie, right? Let's stay within the rules of this movie. Like we are not allow ourselves to bring other time travel rules into this one. The reason why I say
No,
that
no, no, no,
no, no, no,
no,
no,
no.
wait. Let me finish.
All
The
right, I'm
reason
listening.
why I say
I'm
that
listening.
is because not just us, right? A lot of people are not being fair to not just the time travel genre. Because reason I say that is like, I'm just gonna use Spider Man for example, New York City. Like, hey, how come Godzilla didn't come up or something like that? Like, I feel like it's not fair, not just to this movie, right? It's all time travel movies. We can't just simply use another rule to crisscross and reference every other thing else. Because if you think about it, each movie is a standalone feature by itself, and the
Oh,
rules
not this one.
no, the rules apply to whatever that movie is in. It's kind of like
Okay, yeah,
Dracula.
if you want to
Oh,
explain, you should do this on the show, not to
oh, I
me.
know. No. I am doing this on the show. I'm broadcasting on this one right now.
Oh,
If we are talking about like vampires or werewolf, right?
okay.
That that the rules of that movie stays within that movie. We can't just bring like, hey, Blade could have came in and killed them. Well, you know what?
Well, that would
Blade is
take
not part of
man,
Van Helsing.
that would take a lot of that would take a lot of interest. That take a lot of interest out of the movie. Anyway, so
Okay,
we're on the we're on the air.
we're on the air. We're on the Tomorrow
We are.
War.
We're on the
Yes.
air now.
Oh yeah,
But
I've been started.
did you broadcast the rules that I can't I can't talk about the time travel from another genre? Anyways, so we're going to talk about this movie called Aliens Tomorrow War. Because it is, it's aliens. Dude, this is aliens. This movie is aliens with time travel in it.
Well, I
It's aliens, dude. Or would it, the thing
wait,
make you
hold on.
happier?
The are you when you say aliens, are you referring to Ellen Ripley's aliens, like Whitley Scott's alien? Or are you talking about like alien as in like from outer space?
Yeah.
Let me get that.
Yeah, I'm talking about aliens as in Ripley's like aliens. Yeah, the movie. This is a continuation. This is not Prometheus. This is Tomorrow War.
Tomorrow War. Okay.
You know, because you got these guys traveling with a bunch of aliens on their spaceship. They accidentally crash on Earth, and their aliens are only made to wipe out everything on their Earth. And I guess they have like a little whistle they blow, and the aliens go back in the cages and they fly off. I don't know, but this is what it is, dude.
So
I mean, come on, you know it is, or it's the thing because they
so
crashed in the frozen tundra.
so judging by your tone, you did not like this movie.
Okay, here's the only thing good about this movie:
Okay.
the action and the suspense.
Oh, okay. The action and suspense. All right.
The story is so stupid. It makes no sense. Well, the story at one point started to make sense, and I started like, okay, I got you. Then I watched the end of the movie after they come back from the time jail. I thought all those people died for nothing. All those people died for nothing. They didn't even need that vaccine thing or that chemical because all they had to do was blow up their spaceship. That's all they had to do. Find and blow up the spaceship.
Okay. Okay.
I'm glad I got that out.
Okay, I'm
Makes
so
me
glad you
happy
get
now.
that out too because there's some things I want to talk about what you just said. First, you said the
They
uh,
wasted all those
right,
people for
right, 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 right,
nothing.
right, right, right. But it's because you could say that about any war, anything, anytime that's fighting. Like, hey, at the end, whatever the
Okay, yeah.
resolution
Well,
is,
yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
Not
Well,
all
I
these
can say
people
that.
die for
There's
nothing.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
But I don't have to sit there and watch a war. I have to watch this movie for 2 hours. And how was this? 2 hours, 30 minutes?
Yeah, was it 2 hours and 30
It's
minutes? No,
like,
it
come
wasn't
on, editor,
as
edit
long
some.
as. Oh,
Yeah, they could have edited it.
it's almost 2 hours and 20 minutes.
It was too long.
I think the beginning, the intro started
It
off
is
like
too
it took like
long.
30 minutes just to set up the premise of this whole movie. That could have been cut down a
Yeah,
lot too.
they didn't
Yeah,
need it. They had too much. They had too much. Yeah, they could cut a bunch of that down.
because the
Especially,
the
I mean, it's
job
cool
thing
they had to
didn't
go all the way because you got
matter.
to remember the first movie because they got to go all the way to the first to talk to Volcano Boy. Yeah, the
Yeah,
job thing didn't really matter. Nobody wanted. Well, the job thing did really matter because this guy, he's one of them guys that thinks, "Oh, I'm meant for so much more, and my life's so boring." Even though I served in the special forces, my life. Me, come on, this dude already did like all kinds of good stuff, but he's sitting there thinking, "Never do. I'm never going to be anybody." I'm like, "You're in the special forces and you fought Iraq,
yeah,
so I'm thinking you already did quite a bit, dude."
Yeah, you did.
And you're kind of young for somebody that kind of did all that too.
So did you like the time travel element? There's some stuff I want to talk about the time travel elements of this movie.
I did not.
Okay, so I let
I
you
mean,
go
it was
first.
interesting, but I didn't like it that
Why is
much.
that?
I guess I shouldn't say. Maybe I shouldn't say I don't like the element. I
Okay.
think I hate the idea because to me this is somebody come from the '80s and came up with this movie because I mean it's action. Action's good. I mean it has all the stuff. I can see why a lot of people like it. It has everything it would sell. But the problem is these people come from their future. It's just like Terminator to our future, to
Yeah.
our time. Because basically we are now the alternate timeline. And they even show it in this movie, so I'm not messing up any rules. They know we're an alternate timeline that they created. So that's why that we don't matter to them because they're like, well, we'll just pick all your people out. And of course, our government would probably do that. All our governments would probably go, okay, instead of prepping and getting ready for 30 years and using the information that you could have gave us because you don't have any information and you have bad leadership. Because I mean, look at these generals and these military people come across. Their guns are not even 30 years advanced. They're still using small arms fire that couldn't hurt a bug. I mean, we already know the guns in our time aren't powerful enough by our wars that they're already starting to work on better guns. These guys come back with the guns that they should already that we should have thrown in the trash.
So you're saying
You
the
know,
technology was not there
the
from
technology wasn't there at all. Why
so
would yeah? I mean, but the dumbest thing to me, okay, the dumbest thing is like I said about the deal. These people are fighting a war in the future. Why don't they
right.
just tell us what's going on and let us try to fix it instead of sending all our people there? Because see, if here's the problem, if you send all your people to fight in the future and they're dying, when the 30 years gets here, what are you going to replace them with?
So that's that very interesting turn you said that. Okay, so I'm trying to answer that
So
question.
we're
I
actually
know, I know.
sacrificing our future for
The
them
our future for them, right?
because
Because they're not doing anything
yeah,
to prevent. I do like what you just brought up. Like, it does makes a lot of sense. It's like, hey, you're just taking our people from this timeline just to save
yeah.
your future. But then, what are we gonna do? I do like that they didn't think about like, hey, how do we prevent that? You know, I do like they also kind of explain like the river flow thing. Like, hey, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. So I kind of believe, even though at the end of this movie, um, I think on that particular timeline, they stopped it on this movie, like how we showed it ended. Like it did end for only this timeline, right?
Well,
So
we already know. I'm already going to say they're going to make a second movie.
yeah, right now it's in production, so I don't know where that's going. It's kind of like a Terminator
Yeah, I don't want to
2
see a
kind of
second.
thing. Like you
I don't want to
can't
see a
prevent,
second movie.
you can only delay, right? That makes
But
sense.
here's another problem. I'm going to have this problem.
Well,
I
hold on.
I'm going to
Let's
go back
go.
to all the weapons. All right,
Let
the
before you go
weapons
back to
they
other
have.
weapons.
They could
Let's
make time travel, but they have crappy little guns. The same guns that we use now.
well before we get to the time travel and the guns, I want
No flamethrowers
no.
unless they have this super hose. They don't have any good flamethrowers. Their flamethrowers suck.
Well, I want to resolve the first thing
And
you
all
talk
they do
about
is
that.
blow these guys up.
I don't want to jump all over the place first.
Okay.
So I want to talk about the people
Okay.
recruiting
Oh,
thing because I want to talk through that because I didn't think about that until you just brought this up when I was watching this movie. Because the way I watch this movie, right, everything is like I said, like the way that I understand this movie, everything is one timeline until someone trying to go back to trying to change the future, which is very Terminator-ish. It's like they know they go back.
oh,
They didn't try to prevent from Terminator from killing John, right? Or killing Sarah Connor. They didn't do that. They didn't. It's kind of like what we talked about last week. 12 monkeys. Whatever's happened is gonna happen. What they do is trying to find a cure. But what this one is trying to do is like the humans are not trying to take themselves out of the equation because for the white spikes, we are only food to them. So let me think this through. You are talking about like, okay, we send our people from our present
so they're
to
going to
fight the
bring it
war in this past, and then it's so funny. The
in the
reward is
future.
that if you make it back, then you get like $1 million pre-tax credit or whatever because you serve your time. But then it doesn't matter because like let's just say we won the war in the future, but then so many people die. What are we gonna do when our time comes in the 30 years? So I want to say at the same
Yeah, for
time we should
sure.
advance our weaponry, but I want to answer. I want to partly answer your second question first because when things get out of hand, right? When so many people are dying, technology at that time is kind of hard to improve, right? Because so many people are dying. They are trying to figure out how we stay alive.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Terminator.
But
Then how
okay,
come
let's stop right
Terminator?
there.
Okay.
No, stop that. No, stop right there. Because it was 30 years. Okay, they had 30 years. Everything should have advanced in 30 years. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Oh, they couldn't have make anything better during the war, but the war didn't start for 30 years from Chris Pratt's time.
No, for
So in that
Christmas
30
time, yeah.
years, they should have had advanced. Yeah, they should have been. They are 30 years ahead before their war started.
But that would be a different timeline, though, right? Like what you're saying.
No, that's going to be the
Chris,
same timeline because Chris Pratt's timeline is going to end the same since they're an alternate timeline.
yeah, this is the movie we saw is an alternate timeline.
Yeah, the movie saw the alternate timeline, but the problem is they're still 30 years ahead of Chris. Let's say we go to Chris Pratt's real prime timeline. That's
Okay.
the one where his daughter
Oh,
didn't have
Murray.
a
Okay.
father because her father died. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. She doesn't have a father because he died in a car accident. Okay. In that timeline, they should have advanced 30 years worth of good technology before the aliens dug themselves out of the cave and started killing everybody. Where's that 30 years of good technology?
Oh, okay.
See?
Okay, I got you.
And
Okay.
the problem is, here's the thing though, if you try and travel back, let's say you're for 30 years in the future, you try and travel back, you can give all these planets all that technology.
So this is one of my biggest things about movies. The way that you mentioned where's that 30 years of technology, right? Is because some of the times, not even in this movie, in other movies, they don't talk about the advance. We just see it and take it and believe it. Now I'm going to use always my example of Back to the Future 2. We just accepted the flying car, right? But then we didn't think about like, wow, it really only took us 30 years to make a flying car. The way that you put that is not fair against.
Oh, I'm
Back
not
to
saying
the,
that. Okay, this is, it
no, no,
is
no.
fair. You know
You're
why
not.
it's
No,
fair?
I know you're not saying that, but I'm just putting out there like, hey, no one
Okay.
question like, oh, it's easy that you make that flying car in 30 years. Like, we just believe that.
Oh, I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Okay,
Like, we just believe that.
I
Like,
didn't believe that.
because
Yeah, some
if
people
you
did.
put that rule out there, like, oh, okay, from 85 to 2015, there's a flying car. But in Captain America, the first Avenger, they showed the flying car back like during World War II. And then all the
Yeah,
way
but
in the MCU timeline,
that's
there's
another
no
that
flying
is
car.
another there's another story. That's a whole nother universe.
Yeah, see,
But I'm
there we
talking
go.
about this
But you talk
universe.
about this
But in
universe, right?
this universe, and this
See,
universe has a time machine.
they
30
spend
years
all
they had
their
a time
resources
machine.
to do the time machine. Like it's kind of like we can only put all our eggs in
Okay.
one basket. We can't
Okay.
we
Well,
can't
here's the way I
we
see it.
can't think of make a time machine and better guns at the same time. We just don't have that kind of resources, Shane. People are dying left and right. It's crazy. You know what? I just want to say
They
the war
weren't
happened 30
dying
years, right?
until 30. They were not dying until 30 years after Chris Pratt's time. Why do you keep jumping in that
No, no, no.
mid time?
So
They didn't start dying until 30 years
yeah, 30
after.
years after Christmas. That makes his daughter Mary
So what
almost
were they
40.
doing? What were they doing in those 30 years between Chris Pratt's time and the war, before the war started?
I don't
What were they
know.
doing in those 30 years? They apparently built a time machine, Liam.
Well,
They weren't
I'm
building
gonna
flying
ask you about real life.
cars.
Like, how much have our guns? I mean, I don't know because I don't follow that, right? I don't know how much our guns has improved from 1993
But,
to
well, they have
2023.
actually changed their modular now, but yeah,
Change what?
they're modular. They have changed. I mean, they haven't changed that much. The ammunition's still the same. And those people 30 years are using still little bitty ammunition. But you're fighting bugs. Why would you keep using the little bitty ammunition they already had?
Oh, I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't understand weaponry.
Even
Because,
nowadays.
so
But what I'm saying right
hold
now,
on.
though.
Before you go on, are you
Uh,
saying from the 30 years in that we should have like some kind of laser gun or like what is the advanced weaponry
no.
that you're looking for?
A bigger round ammunition like we used during World War II.
Well, but World War II to now is like 80 years though, right? It's 80 years, but
But
you're
we
using
used
30
big.
years.
Okay.
You know, from 1992 to
Okay.
now,
Hey, okay.
weapons haven't
Can I
really
ask you
changed. Yet.
something? If
You
you had a better
could.
gun, if you had a better gun, no, you're not getting, you're not following it.
I don't think I'm following
If you
you.
had a bigger ammunition, yeah, if you had bigger ammunition in World War II, then you shrank ammunition because you didn't think you need that much ammunition because the next wars you're not going to fight enemies like you do. But all of a sudden you come across an enemy that's bigger and stronger. Why wouldn't you resurrect the ammunition that you had already? Because we already decided the United States government's already trying to do it now. because the rounds are too
Oh.
small.
Oh no, I didn't know. I mean, I don't
But
follow that, so I don't
they
know.
shoot. They're still using the same stupid 30-year-old gun. We don't ever. The military doesn't even use guns for 30 years. The same rifle for 30
Hey,
years.
hold on. I forgot. Did they bring the weapons back from the future so that way they could bring it back?
Yes, they brought
They did,
weapons.
right?
They
Okay.
brought weapons back from the future, but the weapons from the future look exactly like the weapons we have
Perfect
today,
today.
except they had shorter barrels.
Hmm. Okay. I mean, a
They use the
weapon's not
same,
my
and they
thing.
use, and each time they open their magazine, they're using the same rounds that NATO has used for quite some time.
Oh, okay. So you know what? You touched so much on the
Even though
gun
we're
subject.
upgraded, but we're
I
but we're upgrading already. So why aren't they upgraded?
I don't know. I wasn't prepared for having a weapon we talk on this podcast at all. I
Well,
was
I'm going to
not
touch
ready
on
for
it.
that.
Let me put you this: in 30 years, a lot can change in 30 years. It doesn't seem
Right.
that way to us, but think about it. Even in Back to the Future, when he from 85 to 55, they go back 30 years.
And you know what? It took Doc 30 years just to make the time machine, right? The 55 to
But to those
85.
people, yeah, but
Oh,
that think though,
yeah.
look how much. But look, I'm talking about. Look at the world. Look at the United States from 55 to 85. Me and you were alive in 85. Didn't the 55 look so obsolete to you?
It does. It looks like a more
But
simpler
think how
time.
much. Think if your kids were to look from this time in 85, what do you think they would see?
Who?
Boy, that's a long time ago.
That's yeah. I know. I don't know how to look through the eyes of my kids because like, ooh.
See, but you see, it doesn't seem like it's so long ago to us, 85.
You know what? We don't even have to go actual time. We can go to some third world undeveloped countries, right? It's like going
Yeah,
back in time that way.
but like I'm saying, 30 years, there's a lot of change.
Yeah. It's kind of like
But in this movie,
seeing
there's
it
hardly any.
working
But in this
paper.
movie, but in this movie, there's hardly any.
Well, we didn't get to see much change
But
in
anyways,
the
that's
future
not even
world.
the point. The technology is not the point.
No.
The point is they come for the future and all the governments go, okay, here's you some people. We're just gonna send everybody for you, even though you're well equipped, unequipped, untrained, and that would be better to stay here and you just give us some information. We build the time machine so we can have a better chance.
Okay.
And
So
give us all the research you have.
I think the flaw I see in that one is like what we talked about last time on 12 Monkeys. Like, hey, we didn't assume these people were crazy because they appear in the middle of a World
Okay.
Cup game. You know,
Well,
you
me
know
and
what I'm
you
talking
always
about?
have yeah, me and you always have this deal. I got a question for you.
Okay.
Somebody comes back from the future, all right, and tells you they got a war going on in the future, and humankind's about to die, and we need you to go fight in that future. Would you go?
Oh, I had the same question for you. Like, so the way that they came, is it kind of like the way that they came, or like some guy comes from a
Yep.
DeLorean by
No,
himself?
just they popped right on there during a soccer game, dude. If you come during a soccer game, I am not going with you anywhere.
Well, maybe it doesn't have to be a soccer game, right? They probably did the
Okay,
public
no, but
event.
no. Okay, well, the sake of our question, it is what you saw in this movie. They show up just like that, and then they need you to go fight for them, Lamb.
No,
Mister, I got 4 kids.
no, I
Okay,
wouldn't.
why?
Because I think from what we talked about, I don't believe you.
Okay,
I don't
and
believe.
if you want to ask me the question,
Uh
then the thing is, my answer is going to be
yes.
exactly like yours.
Okay, so my other question is, so let's just say it took some convincing that they're like, hey, okay, this may be what's really gonna happen. They prove that they're from the future. Now my question is, those kids in the class when they when Dan goes back to his biology class or the
Yeah,
scene, and then the kids are like not trying, right? Because like, what is the point? Because eventually, a lot of us will not make it. How do you feel about that? Like the kids brought up a good point where like, why are we excited about learning? Because we
yeah.
learn it or
Well,
not, it's kind of like knowing doomsday. The
okay.
judgment day is whatever certain day, right? Why does it matter? You
Well,
know?
you know why they're down like that? Because they sent all their fathers and their uncles and their grandfathers and their mothers and all that to the future to die
To die, yeah.
instead of preparing them and preparing their world that they live in currently. They decided to send all their resources to the future and let it waste and let
So
that future. Because see, the future. If you watch the way their generals and all their people work, they aren't worth a flip. why would you follow them? I wouldn't follow any of their people. They're not very military trained or anything. They're just a bunch of ragtag group of people. Because even when they do the time machine, remember when they're sitting there and they're asking about the time machine? Those guys try to explain the time machine. They didn't know how it worked. And then they asked about the monsters. I'll go, well, if we would have told you, you wouldn't show up. I'm like, well, if you would have gave us all this information, we probably could have got ready to
Hey,
fight them.
the way that you just said that instead of this movie, it remind me of, you could say the same thing about the Terminator series. By that time in the future,
Oh,
nobody's
well, we haven't done the
qualified.
time machine.
No. I'm just
Yeah, but
saying like even
yeah,
without watching like Salvation, Terminator 3, right? Even just up to Terminator
yeah.
2, just even in the beginning scene of Terminator 2, you can say the same thing. None of those people are
Actually, I
military
can't.
qualified.
Oh no, they're not. But the problem is they weren't asking for recruits from the past.
Oh
These people
no. I'm not
are
talking
asking for
about that part.
recruits from the
I'm just
past.
talking about the way that the both futures are. Without
Well,
coming
I
back to
know,
like,
and we could explain. I could explain why those people aren't qualified. But the problem is, you don't follow people that ain't qualified. You don't give your resources to all those people. Go okay,
well, that's a huge flaw
because
in
it's
this
not going to
movie though.
benefit.
I
It's
agree
not
with you
going to
on that.
benefit
Like,
you.
I agree with you with that. Our government, like, yeah, let's do this. Like,
You see, in
I
this
thought
movie,
this.
they don't, because the people from the future don't give the people in the past anything.
No,
They don't have anything to give them.
no, we
Even when
could
they
all
give them the
say no.
serum,
You know what's really
yeah,
funny?
but they
Once they
don't.
come
Because
into the
but that's the
World
funny
Cup,
thing
right?
is,
They, what if everybody was cool? Like nobody came in and attacked this crew at all. I think
yeah,
the movie
well,
should
they
have
had
ended
guns.
right there. And like, hey, we experienced a threat on this World Cup soccer game. We need to eliminate this threat. It's like, when has Earth, the history of the world, become that? They just say, we are from the future, like whatever. Put your guns down. Put your guns down now. Like, the security from the soccer game. It's like,
Yeah.
there's no
Well, here's the thing.
gunfight
Like you
there.
said, how do you know? Because you're not lying. Because when Chris Pratt gets drafted, right?
Hmm.
Well, they get all those people and they tell all those people they're going to die at this certain year. Let me put it this way: if those people are so desperate for fighters, how do you know they're not lying to you?
No, we don't. That's what I'm saying. That's why I agree too. Like, I wouldn't go fight your war for you. We should prepare. Like, that's what I said about the government in this movie too. Like, when has we in the history of the world just believed like, yeah, we just send the resources back? Like, why don't we
Yeah.
research it now? Because we got at least 30 years. We need to pay attention on when these white spikes are coming to us. You guys have the information. Now we know when to prepare for it too. I did like the twist at the end that the alien species have been here the whole time. I
Yeah.
did
Oh,
like that. That was
that
pretty
was
good.
neat. But it also the thing is, the funny thing is, he goes to the future, and wastes all those people. He does all this stuff. Then he comes back and he finds out it's already there. They don't want to help him go kill aliens. But the thing is, when they go kill aliens, all they do is blow up the ship and kill all the aliens on it, and then they have one big old battle.
Yeah.
So all they needed to know is they could have stayed in their time the whole time, and somebody in their time probably could have figured out those aliens came from somewhere else
Wait, can you say that
instead of
again?
going there to fight them.
Can you
They
say
could
that
have
again?
stayed in their own time. They could
Okay.
have stayed in their own time and figured out the aliens were here.
Oh. So you're talking about like instead of showing up at the soccer game, they should have just showed up exactly where they were beginning with?
No, no, they shouldn't have done anything. When those people come from the soccer game, all the world government should have just requested a lot of information,
Oh,
as much
requested the
information
information?
get, and just told them, sorry, you already know you're going to lose. So why are you wasting us?
So we're putting today's logic on it, right? I'm gonna say the Tomorrow War would have been awesome if it was a movie back in the 80s. Where we don't question the science
Yes.
logic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it
if
should have
Back
had
to the
Arnold
Future came
Schwarzenegger.
out in
It should have.
2023,
It
we
should.
would have
Yeah.
tore that movie apart. No one would have loved that movie. Like Back to the Future, man, that's the stupidest thing. No, none of that would
I
have
don't
made
know
sense or
because Back in
anything.
Future. I don't know. Let me put it this way: what if Back to the Future come out in this time? It would have been written differently. It probably would have
Oh
been
no,
amazing.
I'm not saying it's the same way. If the same Back to the Future movie came
Oh,
out today, like the same plot and
but
everything,
yeah.
the same way, like,
But,
oh, this
but
is
that's the thing,
stupid.
though. If anything from the '80s came out today, it's going to suck. Because I mean, you saw Howard the Duck
Yeah, I
in
think
the
that
'80s.
was.
That movie rocked.
I mean, there are some movies that came out recently, I guess within the last 10 years, that mimics a what an 80s movie to us were, but I think it also grew up at the same time as we were. But this movie is not one of them. The Tomorrow War should have came out in the 80s, and then we would question none of this logic. Because we talked about that before when we were talking about the other 80s
Actually,
movies.
I think I would have questioned that logic still, because come on, they come from the future and they want you to send all your stuff to the future to fight their war. That doesn't make any sense. It does not make any logical sense whatsoever. Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Because anything you could prevent anything from this time. You don't have to go forward to the future. If they don't know anything in the future, then why would you go?
So the first time I saw this movie, okay, before you saw it this past week, so we can talk about it.
Yeah,
The
I
first,
just actually I just saw it today. I
oh,
waited till the day to watch it
so
because I was not interested.
so right after the first time I saw this movie, probably like almost 2 years ago now. I after I saw this movie, like, I wonder if people could put this like what you said before, the same logic to destroy Back to the Future. I think we should watch more movies like this, right? Go Back to the Future, just to destroy the logic in that whole movie. It's going to be tough because it's
Okay.
one of our favorite movies of all time in the 80s, right? But then, like I always preach about, no one apply those same rules of the Tomorrow War to Back to the Future. No one applied the rule in Endgame to Back to the Future, because if we apply the same rules to that movie, we could probably tear that movie apart and become targets to a
Well,
whole bunch
you
of
you can say
people.
that, but the problem is you also gotta like the movie.
You got
Back to the
yeah,
Future,
I
I like
know.
the movie. I
See,
like the
see,
characters. I
yeah,
didn't
I
really
know.
like the characters in this movie. I am
And
not a
again,
Chris Pratt fan.
no, it doesn't matter. Again, it doesn't matter who plays Dan Forrester, right? It's because when
Dan
this movie
Forster would
came out
suck
and
no
the
matter
age we
what.
were, I highly believe it's because the Tomorrow War didn't come out in 1984.
No, actually,
But no,
honestly,
that's what
think
I'm
with
saying. We can't
take
go back and have that same kind of opinion now because we know too much. Yeah, like
no,
what you
I
said
already
about
know
12
what.
Monkeys.
It's not about time travel. It's about
Oh,
going
I'm
to
not
the
talking about
future.
time travel.
It is the most okay. I'm not talking about time travel. I'm talking about going to fight a war in the future is the dumbest idea ever. It still will be, even if
Oh,
it's
I
the
agree on
80s,
that.
the
Yeah,
90s.
we should.
I don't care what year
So
I watch this movie. If you're taking everybody out to go fight in the future, and then the movie's like, that's just like
so
wasting my time.
I agree with
What
you.
kind of
No, no,
story?
no. So I agree with you
This could
that.
have been an
Hold on.
excellent movie.
So I agree with you that we shouldn't have gone back to the past to take people from the past to the future, right? What we should have done is
Okay.
what you said: go back and find out how to prevent this. Because I'm a huge person of preventing stuff, not to go
Yeah.
fight your
Okay.
war for you, which you guys are down. Since we are here, like, was it 30? Was it 30 30? Hold on. When they go back to this main movie line, how many more years before they fight? Is it 30, right? From the
Well, they go
present,
30 years in the future, but I think all the alien attack only took a couple years
only took a couple of years. Okay, yeah, that was my other question too. Like, when did
because
that even
everybody else
happen?
had a regular. Because all those people had a regular life, they're all scientists. His daughter became a scientist. She didn't become a soldier. She became a soldier after all the crap happened because there's hardly anybody to
Yeah, to
not
fight.
take up the soldier fight. Yeah.
Did you like the So I want to ask you about some time travel question. Well, one of the notes I put, like, the time machine works like how Star Trek, like, beam me up and beam me down. What it does is, like, you get stuck up on this energy, right? Then they replace your matter into a different time and space. That's how I understood that. Kind of like Star Trek.
Yeah,
They
that
took
makes
yeah,
sense.
they break
Yeah.
you up apart
They
and then
basically
yeah,
break you down. Yeah, they break you down, and then your energy is replaced with the energy in the future. So you could actually that could make sense.
yeah, that one makes sense. The
But
matter
the
thing.
problem, but the problem is that they're going forward, but then it also go in the back because then your energy is just put back together. You're just pulled out of the deal. But basically, you're being ripped apart and then rebuilt again.
Yeah,
So
we built again. But
that's really not you.
see, here we go.
It
Well, that's
depends
the
on how
Star
you
Trek
built
thing.
your. Well, let's put it this way: this is Star Trek because it's using Star Trek technology. So even if people watch Star Trek, they think, "Is that really you, or is that really not you?" Because you got to think about it; it's actually tearing you apart,
Am I?
destroying you, and to put you back together.
Hey,
That's a whole nother
am I
discussion.
the
But
prestige or am I the man in the box? I don't know.
I,
But the other
I'm not
thing,
sure sometimes
did
too.
you like the way that they explained the time
But
like the
I've
river?
seen that your house. I've been to your house and I've seen you not have a basement, so I don't think you're the man in the box.
So,
Otherwise, there'd be a lot of the bodies laying around.
did you like the explanation of the river with the rocks in the ripple about that?
No, I thought that was stupid.
Why is
No,
that?
that was,
Is it because we're older and
I don't
then
know.
is it because
No, it
no, hold
just,
on,
I
hold on.
just,
Is it because
it's
you have to believe there's alternate timelines?
No, I don't have to believe that either. I'm like, for example,
Okay.
if I watch Back to the Future, their time travel, I don't have a problem with it, but it works. It works for me. Okay, I agree with their time travel. I just create. It's just the problem. Even with their time travel and Back to the Future, going to, going to the future to fix a problem that you could fix in the past doesn't make
Oh,
any
so
sense.
so it's like
Because
Back
I
to the
don't have a
Future
problem with
too.
the first Back to the Future.
It's the second one.
I
Going
have a
to the
problem with
future
Back to
to
the Future
fix the
2.
future when I can just fix it
But I don't
now.
have a problem with the third. I don't have a, exactly. I don't have a problem with the third one at all. I love the first one and I love the third one. The second one, I'm thinking, I like the second one. Here's the only reason I like the second one because I thought, oh, all the future looks cool. That's the only reason.
Okay.
I'm thinking, oh, the future looks cool. I would like to go there. But other than that, it's like, why would you go so far with your kids that you could do when they reach a certain age?
When you
I mean,
eventually get there, right?
yeah, when
Like
you
when you
eventually get
eventually
there,
get there.
because see, the thing is, before you knew what was wrong, I mean, you with the knowledge of the future, you can actually fix a lot of things. Some people go, "Oh, you'll cause new problems." Okay, well, maybe that's the way it should be, you know. But the problem is, some of that stuff you can like, for example, your kids are going to fall in with the wrong crowd. You can already start to tell your kids you need to start standing up for yourself and being an individual.
Yeah.
You know, Marty, Marty it took 3 movies for Marty to learn a lesson. Quit getting angry when somebody calls you a chicken and ruin your life. It took him 3 movies to learn that, but that's okay because that's the story.
Yep.
That was the story they had to add because actually Back to the Future was only supposed to be one story. But see, the problem I have with the Tomorrow War is I try to like the movie, okay? And the
Okay.
movie's okay. It's got some parts. It's just the part of them sitting there by the future annoys me so much that I don't almost don't like the movie. And the thing is, when he got to the future and they start to find that cure, I started to like the movie again. I thought, okay,
Oh.
I can go with that. I will make the rule that he had to go to the future to find that chemical. That way he'll come back, and that's the only way they do it. But when he gets back, they didn't need the chemical. So I thought, well, what a waste. What a waste. I sat here
Oh,
for
that's why
nothing.
when he came
And I
home,
just
like
felt like a waste of my time.
when his time was up, he actually got the not the cure, like some kind of
Yeah,
virus for the
he
spikes.
got the
Yeah.
cure, and yeah, he got like a virus to kill the spike or DNA change or whatever. Anyways, it busted him, bears and flames. Anyways, it was cool for a second. And then thought to myself, so that was a waste. So I got to sit here another hour
Yeah, like another 30
and watch
years.
the. I'm like I'm already tired. I already watched this. I'm ready to turn the TV
So
off. Go do something
so
else.
let's talk this through. So okay, we you and I both don't like that. Like, hey, you come from the future to fight to bring us to the future. No, not to fight your war. But it
Yeah,
would be better if they come back. Then we research how to kill these white spikes or whatever, right? But then that movie is not as exciting as what we saw in this.
yeah, yeah. And then I know I'm griping and crying about it, but
Oh no.
the movie's not horrible. The movie's not horrible. It is not Howard the Duck. It's not Matrix 4,
Yeah, it's not
you
horrible.
know, or it's not Batman and Robin. I mean, if somebody asked me what I thought about the movie, I'd be like, if you got the time and you like Jurassic Park or you like if you like Pratt, yeah, maybe you'd like to sit there and watch it. But if you're somebody that doesn't want to sit there and watch 2 hours, and you don't want a lot of suspense, or you don't like it where you almost get a resolution, then you got a whole nother story you got to start almost again,
Yeah, it
then
did
that's
feel
not the
like that.
movie for you.
Oh, so if you like 80s
Yeah, it
action,
is
you
because
like this. If you like 80s action, you will probably like
maybe
this.
actually
Hey,
I'd see
80s
a lot of
action
yeah I
doesn't
could see
make
that
any
to a
sense.
point.
So this like it doesn't make any sense. Scientifically,
Yeah,
none of this stuff makes sense. Like
but some
whatever great
I guess you're right in a way because some 80 action movies just go on and
it
on and
just go on,
on
it
and
doesn't
I'm
make
like,
any
all
sense.
right,
Come
it's
on.
like you had 2 movies in one movie.
Yes.
Because it's like you beat the bad guy, and then he's got to go beat the bad guy again. I
I mean,
hate
come on.
when you almost like you finish the bad guy off and you win, and then you got to go do it again,
What is a movie without plot
and
holes and things that
they're
doesn't make
gonna
sense?
they want me to.
You know, what is the movie
Well,
without
I think
those
every movie's
elements?
like that.
Yeah, every movie's like that. You're complaining about not just
I don't
this
know,
movie, but every movie.
but I'm complaining about a movie I don't want to waste my time to ever see again, and they're making a sequel to.
You know what?
That's what I'm complaining about.
One thing I could complain about Prestige is like, really? That's really magic? That's
But
stupid.
but yeah,
You could
but hey, let's
clone
go back
yourself?
to this.
Get out.
We've said this many times. we do a show when we talk about movies. If
right?
we can't gripe or whine about something, then we really won't have anything to talk about, would we?
Well, but then we don't gripe and about every movie though, like especially the ones
Yeah.
that we
Well,
fall in
I
love
know.
with.
I know there are some movies that we're kissing on the mouth, Back to the Future, Star Trek, so forth. But there is some movies where you just need to give them a kiss on the forehead and tell them go on.
Yeah, I
So
I did like
this
the
is one of those
point.
movies I would kiss on the forehead. Actually, I wouldn't even kiss. I would give Chris Pratt a handshake and go, "I'm sorry,
I do
I
like
don't really enjoy your
I
movie.
do like some of
I
the
love you, I love
characters.
you, Star Lord.
I mean, I did like
I
some of the
liked J.K.
characters.
Simmons'
Oh
character,
yeah,
but it took so long for him to show up and do anything.
and I did like the fat
I didn't.
SWAT guy, the one that talks a lot when he's nervous.
Is it what's his name? Gary? Is it
Yeah,
was it
Gary.
Gary?
I really like it when they talk to the volcano kid. He's like,
Was it
man, I would.
Gary? I think
Yeah,
his
I
name's.
can't remember. But
I
like,
like. I
I
like
like
those.
him
I mean, well, yeah. Well,
because
that's what.
because
Well, you
he's
like them because this movie's like so
he's the
because they
nerd
don't take
one.
themselves as serious in a movie that shouldn't take itself serious. Yeah, well, they shouldn't be so
Well,
serious in a movie that
he's
you can't take
actually
serious.
like that that persona that he's playing.
Comic
You know,
relief.
not only comic relief, but I like that. Like, hey, he said that line that I would like, hey man, I would kill for a moment, like in this
Oh
entire
yeah,
script where
okay.
everybody suddenly is like depending on you, and then the guy
Yeah,
who's fighting cancer or who's dying from cancer, because they're like, why is he
yeah.
here
Oh
for
yeah.
like yeah, because he got nothing to
Well,
live for, you know. And
well,
also
well.
when
No, he didn't. He was.
well,
I think
that's what he
the
wants
guy.
to do.
Well, no, he was like he said. He wanted to die his
Yeah,
way.
he died his way.
So he was spending the whole movie looking for a good way to the end it.
So
That's
has
why he never died
I
because he
just
was looking. He spent most of his time because he didn't want to waste his life. He didn't want to waste his life on cancer, but then he didn't want to waste his life in the future on this. So he waited till his regular time to go. This actually counts.
so that's something interesting I want to talk to you about now because we talk about the cancer guy, right? And we all know
Okay.
that Chris Pratt's character was supposed to be dying 7 years from the day that he was deployed to fight in the future, which is really weird to say. So
Yeah.
since before it was his daughter that tells him how he dies, but now he has the date and the
Yeah.
year. So all you like you said before, all he has to do that day is like, you know what? I'm not gonna drive today at all. So I'm gonna stay
Well,
home. I'm not gonna
actually,
drive. You know.
actually, well, that's not the only thing. The problem is his life took a different direction anyway, so he don't even have to remember the date. Because if he doesn't separate from his wife, he'll never be in that other town, and he'll never
Oh,
get hit by that other car. Because you
so
got to think his life went a whole different direction. He left his
uh,
daughter, he left his wife,
this
they got divorced, he went somewhere else.
this is the time logic. That's gonna be so tough to say. So Muri's
So
time. So this is just like the
technically,
Terminator. It like where the
well, I
Muri's
want to go back though
timeline
to
is
this.
none of them went to. So once they go back, it's create the
First.
alternate timeline. But then it doesn't. You know
Yeah,
what's
well,
really weird? I
they're
feel like once they
what?
come back to trying to recruit people from the past to the future, right? Maybe the white spikes won't even come anymore. Maybe like, hey, you know how we always talk about global
They
warming?
could
Let's fix it.
because that's the thing. As soon as they came through the timeline, they automatically altered the time, so they
Right.
may have already moved it out or
Yeah.
to a different
So,
event.
so I wanna. You know what? Maybe I'm gonna make this the tagline. They could have solved this alien problem with fixing global warming, because what happened is it's just basically global warming, right? The ice melted 30 years from now, and that's why those aliens got thawed out. They were just frozen in place. They've
Yeah,
always been
but here's the
here.
thing, though. Then there would have been another movie where some scientists go to that frozen place and find those aliens and wake them up, and then they had this event.
Oh, it could
That's
be like
called The
that too.
Thing.
Yeah.
The Thing, the movie The Thing. That's what happens in The Thing.
I haven't seen the thing. I never seen the thing. So it's interesting to me.
Need to do the thing.
I did also like they pointed out when they were I guess whatever time they had training before they actually go to the future to fight, they noticed that all the kids were young, like all the people who come back from the future are young, just in case
Yeah.
they're not alive at this year. Like, oh, that makes sense. I like that. That's okay. And then all the people go back, right? Like, well, I think they're trying to recruit people already are not present in that future. So everybody that get to time travel, get drafted, right? There's a good chance like you and I get drafted like 30 years from now, like, oh, I
Yeah.
won't make it 30 years from my
Yeah, but
age now.
here's the thing though. Here's the problem though. If they draft certain people though, they're actually eliminating people that probably would have existed in their timeline. Let's say you're going to have several of the kids that's going to be generals in the future,
Okay.
but they come back to your time and they drafted you and didn't look at the stuff. They send you the future and you die. Well, there's several generals that will never be born, but they don't care about your timeline. So that's another
No, yeah,
point
that's
right
the
there.
that they don't care about your timeline.
Yeah, a lot of those people, yeah, because a lot of those people, because they're drafting so many people, a lot of those people in that timeline aren't going to exist now in your timeline.
This movie is stupid.
Because you're not gonna, because those people aren't gonna have those kids. I bet you they already picked them out. They probably picked everybody out. They're like,
They
who's
know
all
who they're gonna
alive?
send.
All right, who's your parents? Yeah, and who's your parents and your brothers and sisters? And then they go in the past, and anybody's not connected to those people in the future, they pick out and take to the future.
So basically, this is not really a draft. It's already pre-selected. They already know
Nope,
who they're
it's
gonna
they
send.
already pre-select. They already picked you out. They already come back and then picking out who they want.
That's why the
So it's
cancer
a big
guy was
giant
one of the
sham.
ones to go because like they already know he's gonna die soon. They already know he only had like
Yeah,
6 months
well,
to
yeah,
live.
it's a
Yeah,
sham.
that's why Chris Pratt's
But
character
still,
was picked
in a
because like,
way,
hey, he's
though,
not gonna make it in the future.
but you got to think. But you got to think though, in a world though, with all those people between in 30 years, all those people, even the cancer patient guy, would have made some kind of difference on somebody's life, and they took that away from somebody.
So let's just say that doesn't matter. Let's just say that doesn't matter. Like, let's just say it didn't happen.
Well,
Like,
that's the
he didn't
thing.
make any difference. Let's just say these people didn't make any difference. They look through the history or whatever. Let's just say you and I are supposed to die tomorrow, like whatever accident, okay? But then a future come, then they recruit both me and you just to fight in the future because hey, no matter what you do right now, even if we come back, you can't. Let's just say you die of heart disease and I die of something. I don't know, or something that they can cure in the future. Like we can prevent it. Would you go?
Or beast.
What? Like let's just say
Okay.
if you don't want to die the next day, right? The only way to escape that is to fight the white spikes in the
Okay.
future. That's a better question, actually.
Okay. They're gonna come and tell me. They're gonna show. Are they gonna prove this to me? Because, like I said,
No,
I
I'm
already
saying
know
that.
they're
No, no, I'm
desperate.
saying like I'm
So
just
how do I
saying
know
like
they're not
you
lying?
already accepted this fact. Like, hey, you're gonna die on whatever this day, like a week from now. And nothing you can prevent. You already believe that, whatever. Now your decision is just like, well, do I want to wait until I die in 7 days, or do I just go fight the war for 7 days anyway? Like your outcome will be the same. Like let's just say
Okay.
you don't make. There's a chance that you will make it, but when you come back, you already passed that moment of time that you were supposed to die. Oh, that's really freaky. I just thought about that. If you pass that moment you were
So what you're
supposed to die
saying
in your
is they're
timeline,
offering me a better. So they're offering me a
and
better opportunity to go to the
I wouldn't say
future.
a better opportunity, a possibility that you can make it come back in alive. You were gonna die anyway, 4 days from now, but the whole what is it? The 7 days is a week deployment time. You had to serve for seven
Yeah.
days. Let's just say you have a chance to make it back, but by the time you come back, right, you were supposed to die. Would you go?
Okay. After seeing this movie,
No, no,
after
not
seeing all
no,
the
no, no.
training they
They
gave
have
you.
nothing to do. Not they have nothing to do with this
Oh.
movie. This is just a scenario. You were
Okay.
supposed to
Well, I
die
got
for
another
this.
question. Are they going to drop me out in the sky and I might fall out in the
No, I'm not
street
gonna answer that.
and get crushed?
No, don't answer the question with a question. Hey, are you gonna go or not?
Oh, that's a hard one.
It
Probably
is.
not.
So you're just gonna accept that you're gonna die in 4 days without instead of going.
Hmm. Look, I kind of want to go, but I also kind of want to give these people from the future the finger. So if I die, it's pretty much giving them the finger and telling them that they shouldn't have came back.
I think I want to go. If there's a chance, like if I'm supposed to die in 4 days, like, but then if I make it to a week, right? I'm I'm choosing. I'm not choosing the path of death
Well,
because I
here's
don't know what's gonna go
let
on.
me put it this way. Well, we already messed it up.
We did.
Let's say they'd have to come up and tell us that we're going to die at a car accident or something like that.
No, they
Okay,
don't tell you what it
but
is.
but
I'm
they're not,
saying they don't tell you what it
well,
is.
they, well, they're going to have to tell me what it is, or I'm going to have to tell them no. I'm
Because
sorry,
once they tell you
don't
what
want
it
to
is,
know.
right, you can prevent it. The whole idea for them
Well,
not to
that's
tell you what it
no.
is.
Here's the thing. Well, here's the okay. I'm going to tell you right here why. Well, I'm going to tell you why I tell them no. Then
Okay,
because
that's
this
good.
is an incurable disease, then you're still going to die.
I'm not
You go
saying
to the
it's an
future,
incurable
you
disease.
fight.
You don't know what it is. Like let's just say our well-being right now. That's what the reason why they don't
I
tell you.
know they don't. If they're not going to tell me, then my chances
Even
haven't
though it's an
improved.
incurable disease, I was. If you tell me it's an incurable disease, I would definitely go. my answer is a solid yes now because I don't want to sit in the
My answer is
hospital. Because you say incurable disease, right? They're gonna try to keep you well, and I'm gonna be like that guy, like, hey, I'm gonna go out my own way. I'm not gonna
okay.
sit
But
in the
like you
hospital
said,
bed,
but
like or
here, but we're
whatever.
gonna go back to this. But we're gonna go back to this question. You told me that they're not gonna tell me what it is.
Right? Yeah. Let's not go
So
about
I
what it
die
is.
this soon.
What?
So I'm gonna say no then.
So you're just gonna wait it out and see what happens?
Yep. Yep. You know why I'm gonna wait it out?
No.
Because I'm gonna like you could either tell me and maybe I gotta you can either you if you really want me to join your cause, you're either gonna tell me what I want to know, or I could just stay here. I don't care. Tell me what I want to know, or what.
So you're
See,
just not gonna
I'm
go at all.
gonna be like, no, it's gonna be like, oh, I'll go,
Hey, how
but you better give me more.
how funny would it be, right? Like,
You're gonna have to tell me, yeah.
so how funny would it be, right? By the time you actually like, so today's the day you die in 4 days, Shane, but it's like a week of whatever. But once we get into the future, they already fixed everything. How funny would that be? And then they're like, well, you still gotta be here for 7 days because that's that arm thing they give you. Like, I guess you could just hang out for a week in the future, and then when you go back, you go back to your regular lives. No one's
Yeah,
there
well,
like
let me put it
they
this way.
don't know.
If, well, that's the thing, though. If I go to the future and it turns out to be okay, you know what I'm going to do?
But you
Go
don't.
buy sports all of them.
But
Go
yeah,
buy sports
but
all of them.
so you know what? They actually talked about that. He was talking about the Miami Dolphins if they won the Super Bowl and how
Yeah,
big
oh
the
yeah, I
spread
know.
was.
Yes,
I
it's
thought that
like
was
what the
pretty
spread
funny
is.
because it's something
And of
that I
course, his
care
dad asked
about.
him.
Yeah,
So are they still losers?
that was a really good joke. So they did touch on the sports thing, and I did like in this movie they didn't have any rules about what you cannot or can or cannot bring to the future. When Terminator was very specific about that, like you can't bring certain things. But in the Back to the Future, it's like whatever you have with you in the time machine, you're okay to bring, which we
Yeah,
accepted as fact because when Terminator came out, like we didn't apply the Terminator time travel rule to Back to the Future. We're just like, hey, every movie is its
I
own,
don't
and we
know. I didn't
accepted
hear
it.
anything you just said because you got
Oh,
stuck.
I got cut out. So I was talking about when Terminator came
Well, you
out.
cut out most of. You've actually cut out most of the show, so I've been just pretending I know what you're saying,
Oh,
but I don't.
let me see if I could just explain slowly. Like Terminator has their own set of time travel rules. They cannot bring certain
Yes.
items back. Okay, but in Back to the Future, they could bring whatever they
Yeah, they
want.
come back butt naked.
Yeah, but then in Back to the Future, they could bring whatever they want as long as inside the time machine.
Yeah, as long as it's inside the time
But
machine.
then
Yeah,
we
nothing
accept that
changes.
these individually. We don't argue like, you know what, Back to the Future is stupid because when you time travel, you're not allowed to bring anything. You're supposed to go butt naked everywhere. Like we don't apply like also like well Terminator is stupid because you could bring whatever
Yeah,
you want. We don't do that
that's
to those
sad.
movies. Yeah, I
What you
know.
said was probably funny, but it got all cut out. So I
Oh
just heard
damn.
butt naked. That's it.
No,
It
I'm
just
talking
came
about
on.
like
But you're just.
oh hold on. I was
So I
talking
was
about
like, what?
Back to the Future. Like Back to the
Yeah, I
Future
know.
should be the
I
butt
got that.
naked
I
thing, but
heard.
we should never we should never actually make
No,
fun
you
of
know
any.
why? You know why that? Because Doc Brown does not want you riding around butt naked with your butt against his leather seats in his DeLorean. So
Shoot. You know what? I could say that like, hey, once you travel in the DeLorean, right? It gets the skin disintegrated into time travel, and then you come out
this
butt
is
naked.
horrible. This is horrible. Plus, he put several changes of clothes inside the DeLorean
Yeah,
too.
just for the time period and stuff.
Yeah.
I wish the time travel would just be like a door, so it's like that loophole thing. The scientists are actually like it's just like a hole that you cut in
Well, let me
time that
put it
you
this
just
way,
go
man.
through. Yeah.
When you're all out, I'll tell you the story.
Okay.
Okay, you thought out. Okay, I didn't know
Okay.
if you could
Good.
hear me or not.
Oh, I can hear you the whole time.
All you have to do is write your own story, and you can make time travel any way you want it. A doorway, push somebody through the wall like 12
So
monkeys,
I said the thing
jump
about
through a tunnel, drive in a car, ride a bike, time travel, fly around the moon backwards or the earth several times like Superman does,
so
or get you a little My Little Kitty watch and use that.
So a long time ago, I was interviewed by one of these students with the same film school I went to, right? Asking me about science
Okay.
fiction, like, hey, how come we pick science fiction as a genre? And I basically said because science fiction, you can basically make up anything you want and make it true. Because that's the same thing that we saw in movies. Like, hey, a lot of these things that kind of makes sense because no one did the real science. We just think that's how it's supposed to work because no one can prove you
Yeah,
wrong yet, right? That's why we pick
yeah,
science fiction. We could make
yeah.
whatever.
Like I said,
Yeah,
you
I
could
could.
do. You just gotta have a story that somebody wants to hear,
Yeah, that's it.
like this movie. No, I didn't have a problem with the time travel in it. I didn't have a problem with anything in it. I mean, I didn't have a problem with the Jurassic Park type monsters trying to kill Mr. Jurassic Park. All I had a problem with was everybody sending everybody back to fight in the future on another stupid war.
Yeah, I think I have a huge problem with that too. Like, I would like to, like, hey, why don't we just solve it right now? Tell me what you know.
Yeah, why couldn't? Yeah,
Yeah.
why could? I think it come up with a different story. But I mean, this movie did make a lot of money, and a lot of people saw it.
Um,
So
I was gonna say because it didn't get box office release here because it was during the pandemic. Because Paramount had the
yeah,
picture. It was
yeah,
supposed to
Paramount.
release in 2020, but then that's when the pandemic outbreak started, and then they couldn't
But
put this in the theater.
yeah, well, I'm glad Paramount got rid of it, got that off their hands.
Yeah, and then Amazon just distributed through streaming. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
that's
like,
why
how
it
do you make
works.
money from streaming services? Like, is you and I
Yeah.
like,
Well, I don't know, and they may not have made any money on it. They just got a lot of people watching it. But that's the
yeah,
thing, though.
I don't even know
Would
how.
you pay to go see this in the theater? Would you go pay to see this in the theater? I mean, I
I
can
don't
tell you
know.
why I watched it because it's on Amazon. It was easy. I didn't have to go nowhere. I didn't pay anything extra.
It's hard to say.
If
Like,
you have Prime, you get.
Dune two
If you
came.
have Prime, you automatically get this.
Dune came out, right? I didn't see it in the theater because we were able to watch it at home. It was also during this
Yeah,
time. But
you had to,
but
so you
Dune
didn't know.
2
But
came
now that
out. I want to see it, but then I just don't have the
oh, I would
time.
go see. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I
You know?
would go see Dune too at the theater. I would have saw Dune, the first Dune at the theater.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I would have saw it. Same thing with James Bond. I would have went to go see James Bond at the theater.
But what if one of the James Bonds suck?
This, I would have went to go see it.
See, this is one of those things that it's
Yeah,
hard for us
sometimes
to
they
say
do. I've gone
after
to the
the
theater and
fact.
watched it. I've
It's
gone
hard
to
to say after the fact now.
yeah after. Well, the problem is though.
I
But the
would say
problem is,
yeah, I
like I
probably
told you,
see it.
when you told me about this movie, when you told me about this movie, I told you, oh, I don't want to see this at all. I didn't give a crap about that. It's stupid. I told you how stupid it was before I even saw the movie. Why would you go to the future to fight a war? Because you told me about the premise of this movie
I would
before you even
well,
saw it.
that would be interesting. Like, yeah, why would you go to the future to fight a war, right? Why have to watch the movie to find out?
Yeah, I wouldn't go. I would not even waste my money or my time at the theater.
I think I just want to go because
So,
it's time travel. Just to
but
see the rules
like I
of the
said,
time travel.
I could see why this movie would do good on streaming. You know, because some things, if it's easier to get to, and you're not that interested into it, you're more likely to do it.
You more likely watch it. So
Yeah, yeah. Like I say, if you're not that interested, you're not going to take a lot of effort. But if they just show it right here, it's like you're sitting here. Oh, it's on. You might as well watch it.
yeah.
But if you have to get up, get in your car, go get your money, and go to the theater, they're probably going to go, yeah, I don't really want
No,
to
I
see
don't want to
that.
watch this.
Because that's a lot of movies, though. There's a lot of movies I won't go and see. And there's some I wish I would have saw in the theater. But a lot of times I'll watch it,
So
I'll see a trailer, and I'll go, do I want to go to the theater or not? Because it's a lot of trouble.
it is.
If Iron Man,
It's
when Iron Man showed up, I was like, I'm going to the theater.
so like when I want to ask about what you just
When
said
the
right now.
Externals, what was that? The Externals? Was it the External? What is that movie with the
Eternals.
other Marvel movie? Eternal.
Eternals.
Sorry. When the Eternals showed up, you know what I said? I'll wait for streaming because there's no way I'm gonna go to theater for
Yeah,
that.
but then a lot of times, I don't like to prejudge the movie because like I watch Dune at home, right? And I'm like, I don't want to understand that after the fact. I was gonna ask you like, hey, I wish I would have seen this in the theater. Is it because after you saw this movie at home, that's when you wish at the theater? Because like, let's just say before you watch it, right? You make the
Man, you
mindset of
cut out
like,
a whole lot. I don't
oh,
know what you said.
damn it. I was gonna ask your opinion on when you decide like, oh, I wish I would have seen this in the theater. Was it after you saw this movie at home?
Yeah, that would be after I saw the movie at
Okay,
home, you know.
so that's the thing, right? That's
But it's never been the other way around.
no, it's not the other way around. Like, what if sometimes you watch the trailer, you decide like, oh, this movie doesn't look good, I don't want to watch it, but then you watch it like, oh, I should have seen this at the theater.
Yeah. Oh, I've done that.
I mean, like that's. I feel like that's the only way that would work on that flow. Like you
Yeah, that
prejudge
is.
first,
Well,
yeah.
Yeah, well, I got to see the trailer, but the trailer is the determining factor where I get up and go to the movie theater
Hey,
or not.
I saw the trailer for Prestige. I didn't see it in the theater. I now I'm one of those like I wish I would have seen this in the theater.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that was
But
the
then
only way for you to
sometimes
see
the
it then.
trailer is not the most
Yeah,
reliable
you're right.
source, you know.
Sometimes, yeah. Well, that's Hollywood's problem then, right there. Got to sell it to me better.
So it's a marketing thing. You know, one of the movies I know that is really different from the trailer I saw was Zoolander. The first time I saw the Zoolander trailer, it feels like oh some kind of agent spy movie, right? And then when you see the
Oh,
movie,
really?
it's not like yeah the trailer makes it like an agent spy
You know,
movie because the
the
trailer is
sad
like
thing
using a male model to get undercover. Like oh okay that sounds like an interesting
is
thing.
that what you? Okay, when I saw Zoolander, I wanted to see it in the theater,
The
but I mean,
trailer,
it also has to do. Yeah, after I saw that, I wanted to see it in the theater, but it also has a lot to do with if you like the actors in it too. You
yeah
know,
yeah that too
you
yeah
got to
that's
go,
the
huh?
thing
I like that guy's work.
that's the thing like
But I
it's
mean,
about the
like I said,
actors the
like
marketing
Chris Pratt and Star Lord, but I don't really care for him in a lot of other stuff.
yeah yeah but then I don't like this but like basically judging a book by its cover, you know. It's like
That's
judging a
why.
book by its cover. It's
No, it's not because you know if you turn the book over, you can read on what the book's about on the back.
okay. That's the one of the stupidest thing I've ever heard you say.
Most books
Right,
tell you what they're about,
right.
either on the in this inside
But
jacket. That way you can
but
decide
but
if you want.
you decide. But that's not judging a book by its cover. Then you actually went inside to read it. Judging a book by its
But I
cover, just
did
take
just
a glance to look at it
but
and
I
like, oh,
did.
Channing
Yep,
Tatum's
yep, I
movie.
do.
I'm not gonna watch it.
But I do that. Everybody does that. You go to the bookstore. If the book has a nice cover, you're going to pick it up and go home and wonder what's in there. Otherwise,
Oh, I
it's not
know.
going to get your attention. You never touch it. I walk through a bookstore and don't touch 100,000 books. I got bookshelves full of books. They're all because they had good covers is what got me to pick them up and buy them.
Yeah,
So yes, I do. Everybody does that. It's like going to the grocery store. You see a cereal box that has a cool looking character. You're going to buy it and try to eat it. It may suck, but I mean, that's how I got Count Chocolate in my life to begin with. I mean, everything like potato chips. You look at the potato chips. If it's or drinks, the shiniest drinks are the first ones that crawl you over there. I mean, everything's bright colors. I mean, that is everything is about sales. I mean,
yeah,
there's too many things to pick in our life, so you got to judge some stuff by its cover, or you're never going to get what you want.
yeah.
And the sad thing is, you're right. You'll miss a lot of crap. You'll probably miss a lot of good stuff that had a crappy cover. But
Because they
well,
don't have a big
one of my
marketing
friends,
department, you know.
Lamb, because one of my friends, Lamb, will tell me about it, and then I'll go watch it. Like Lamb, go, hey, did you ever see Moon? And I'll go, huh, no. And I watched it. It was good.
And Dread, call of it like,
And Dredd, well, I like Judge Dredd anyway, so
yeah,
I would watch that no matter what.
yeah.
I
Because
would
we
have went to
saw
the theater for that.
like I saw Judge Dredd in the theater, and then like that was a huge disappointment.
You know, the sad thing is, I went and
Yeah,
saw Judge Dredd in the theater too. I wasn't really. I mean, I never read the comic book, and I know what, but I did know that he's supposed to keep his helmet on. But I still actually enjoyed it
yeah. I
because
didn't
I wanted
remember.
to see it so bad.
Oh, okay. I think I compared Judge Dredd to Demolition Man.
Yeah, and I mean, but the thing is, like I said, I saw Judge Dredd. It was in the future. I mean, if it's in the future during the '90s, early '90s, I mean,
Well,
pretty
those
much just
late
the '90s.
'90s, yeah. Just
If it's in the future, I usually go see it. Except
yeah,
if it's in the future war where they didn't really go to.
the Tomorrow War. No, hey, you know what? Now I'm thinking like I'm seeing that a sequel
Like Blade
isn't.
Runner.
Oh,
I
Blade
went to
One
go
is
see Blade
different
Runner
though.
because it was in the future. Because it showed the future. That's what I wanted to see. They didn't tell me what it was about. I didn't care what it was about. They were in the future. I went to go see it.
A sequel is in development, and I'm thinking like, how? Why? Did the White Spice figure out how to prevent the extinction from happening?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe there's another spaceship or some of the little things fell out. There's no telling.
Yeah,
Or another spaceship flies and it doesn't have. But the problem is you can't keep calling it the Tomorrow War if he doesn't go to tomorrow and fight.
yeah. Well,
But you know, but the thing is, it's I think it's just it's perfect. It depends on what you like for because we keep saying tomorrow. It makes me think of Tomorrowland. You ever watch the movie Tomorrowland?
No, that's with
Oh, you
George
haven't. Okay.
Clooney, right?
Well, yeah. If you watch the trailer and you've been to Disneyland, you know what Tomorrowland is.
Yeah.
The trailer, I thought, wow, this is gonna be an awesome movie. This is gonna be an awesome movie. I finally saw that movie. It wasn't really that awesome, but I still like the movie.
Oh, I remember the trailer for Tomorrowland.
it's got tons of flaws in it. Got George Clooney in it. I mean, I was hoping he wasn't really in it,
So George Clooney was
but
one of
he's
the
in it.
flaws.
George Clooney seems to always be a flaw in the movie.
Why? Because he's Daniel Ocean in every movie.
Yeah, unless it's Ocean's 11 or something. George Clooney's usually the flaw in a movie. I mean, I like George Clooney. I'm sure he's a nice guy, but
Except
he
for
is just
Gravity. Gravity was
the
pretty good.
movie's just. Oh, really? Well, I haven't seen that. Maybe I
But
need to see that.
he has that some of that Daniel Ocean charm in it.
But
But
he
that
also has that George Clooney drag on a movie
he
in
does.
it too. It just drags a movie. I mean, because what was that? Was it The Men Talk to Goats? Is that what that was?
I have not seen that.
You haven't seen that? It's actually good. I
Yeah, I
liked it.
have
It's got,
not
it's got
seen
George
that.
Clooney in it. He is actually the good part of the movie and kind of the dragon part of the movie.
Oh, really? So
Yeah, he ruined the movie pretty
I
quick.
think one of the movies that I know that George Clooney is not acting like Daniel Ocean is probably from Dusk to Dawn. Like one of his first
Oh wait,
appearances.
there you go. You did it. That is a good
Yeah,
one. That is
because
actually a George Clooney movie. That
there's
is
a
good.
George Clooney movie that's not
He's
like
probably
Daniel
got.
Ocean.
There's probably. I'm joking. Joking. I mean, I don't. I like George Clooney. He's all right. I mean, but he does have some bad movies. But
Yeah,
I'm sure there is. If you look past those bad movies, I'm sure there's a lot of good ones I haven't seen.
yeah, there's probably a lot I haven't seen. Like I
And
like
who
the
knows? For all
Ocean
we know,
series,
maybe he's one of those guys that should have just been a director.
but he's not. He doesn't direct stuff. He just acts.
Well, maybe he needs to talk to his friend Affleck and start directing.
Well,
And
I
he
want to
could win
say
an Academy Award.
I think Affleck is one of those that always want to direct, like Seth Boff and like Steve Buscemi, and like those people. Like they don't really want to be actors, but they have to for now until they get to that stage, right? Like, come on, you're not like a David Fincher. You're
Yeah.
not like
Come on. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know, Affleck, you the bomb.
you're bombing phantoms, man.
The bomb in Thanos.
All right,
I've never seen Thanos.
so now on this movie, right? It's not as bad as like some of the ones that you mentioned before. Where is one of our like the Fifth Element? Where do we align that? It's not the best movie in the world, but it's a very enjoyable movie, right? The Fifth Element is one
Yeah,
of the
to a
best.
point. I don't
Yeah.
know. I could actually watch. I'm not a big fan of Fifth Element anymore. I
Okay.
think it's one of those movies. It's good, but it kind of gets. You could watch it. Oh, good. I guess if you let a lot of time pass, you could watch it again. It's okay. But it's not that I couldn't watch Fifth Element several hundred times. No, I couldn't even watch it 3 times in a
You
row.
know what? The Fifth Element is not one of those I keep watching it. It's not like the Prestige or the Fight Club. You know,
Because
that thing I keep watching.
it's actually a movie to me that didn't age as well. It's not. It's as time goes on, it seems to get more annoying and more annoying as
Which is
time goes
funny
on.
because it feels like a comic book movie. The Fifth Element.
Well, I'm sure they wanted it to be like a comic book movie.
Maybe
But like
that's
I
what they
say,
got.
it's one of those ones you can't watch over. Like Back to the Future, I could watch that over, and I could still go pick it up and sit there and watch it. You
You know
know, and I
what?
don't know why, but Back to the Future I could watch several times.
There's a lot of
I could
movies
watch
from
that every year.
I guess
But I
80s
feel
to
if
the
I was to
early
watch,
90s. I feel the same.
yeah, but like I said, Fifth Element, if I was to watch that every year, I'd end up hating it.
Huh. A movie that you can watch every year. Like for you, it's probably The Wrath of Khan.
Oh yeah, I can
For
watch
me,
that.
it's probably my favorite. Like Strange Days, The Prestige, Fight Club.
Oh, I can watch Strange Day quite a bit.
Yeah, like that because
Prestige. Oh, I watch Prestige back to back. I watch that 100 times
yeah, The
too.
Prestige I can always watch back to back. Like Fight Club, I
Because
can
you think
always
you're
watch
gonna,
back to back.
because you're
Yep,
thinking good. I
you
don't know
like
if I can do
learn more
Fat Club
stuff.
that much.
I can. It's just movies like
Yeah, you can. It's yeah. Everybody's got those movies they can do that.
because you love that movie. Like it means so much to you.
If I was heavily sedated, I could probably watch Matrix 4.
By the time you're heavy sedated, are you watching Matrix? Are you watching anything? Like, you're like,
I don't know. I
oh.
think I fell. I had a hard time trying
I
to
feel
stay
like
awake during the first time I
I
saw
feel
it.
like I want to be Jon Stewart's character from Half Baked. Like, have you ever seen Matrix 4 on weed? Have you ever watched Howard the Duck on weed? Like, oh, I don't know.
Well, that
I,
when I watched Howard Duck, that's what I thought it was on. So,
it makes you feel like, am
so
I on weed right now? Like,
it
what the
makes
hell
you,
is going on?
yeah, yeah. What is going on? What is it?
Oh, you know what? Thumbs down for the Tomorrow War because the future element about like, hey, take my people and then go into the future. Like, no,
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna give it a thumbs down, but I'm not gonna give it anything. Just a negative.
just like
Just the equal. Yeah, it's just in the middle.
I
It's
what
in the
which
middle.
which movie was did like this? I can't remember now.
Oh no.
Oh, it was Street Fighter.
Yeah. Street Fighter?
Yeah, it was
We didn't do
one of the
Street Fighter.
characters. Like, no, that ice scene where like you do the thumb sideways, right? And it's supposed to be thumbs up.
Yeah, but we never did Street Fighter though.
No, it's probably my most favorite arcade game ever. Street Fighter 2. Yeah, it's my favorite arcade game ever. So you know what? It's time for us to go, and then we'll just leave it right here and see everybody on the next one. Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Tensai Reviews. If you like what you heard, give us a thumbs up. Follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you on the next one.